We all have dreams, ambitions, and goals that we aspire to achieve. But too often we find ourselves stuck in a cycle of delay and inaction. Why? Because it's easier to make excuses than to face the challenges head on. Today I'm here to tell you no more excuses. The truth is, excuses are the stories we tell ourselves to justify why we haven't moved forward. We say things like, I don't have the time, or I'm not ready, but those are just shields we use to protect ourselves from discomfort. Let me ask you, what would happen if you stopped making excuses and started taking full responsibility for your life? Accountability is the key. When you hold yourself accountable for your progress or lack of it, you begin to see things differently. Instead of focusing on the barriers, you start seeing opportunities. You shift your mindset from I can't to how can I? That's where real change begins. Let's talk about fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. These are powerful emotions that fuel our excuses. But let me tell you, fear is not the enemy. It's a natural part of growth. When you confront your fears instead of running from them, you give yourself permission to step into your potential. You stop asking, what if I fail, and start saying, what if I succeed? But it doesn't end with mindset. It requires action, consistent, deliberate action. Because progress doesn't happen when you're standing still. It happens when you take steps, even if they're small ones, toward your goals. No more waiting for the perfect moment, no more justifying why you can't. Just time for action. So today I challenge you to make a decision. Decide that you will no longer let excuses define your path. Decide that you are ready to take control of your life and begin walking toward the future you deserve. Excuses are easy. They're convenient. They shield us from the discomfort of failure, rejection, or disappointment. But at the heart of every excuse is a denial of personal responsibility. When we make excuses, we're essentially giving away our power, the power to control our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our outcomes. Today, I want to talk about the importance of accountability and how it can transform your life, your mindset, your results. Taking full responsibility for your life is not about blaming yourself for every challenge or setback that comes your way. It's about acknowledging that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. It's about owning your choices and realizing that the decisions you make today will shape your tomorrow. When we stop making excuses, we open the door to growth, success, and personal empowerment. Many of us have heard the phrase, life is 10%, what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. This statement rings true when it comes to accountability. Often, when things go wrong, we are quick to point fingers. It's the economy, it's my upbringing, it's my lack of resources, or even it's just bad luck. While external circumstances can indeed be challenging, it's crucial to understand that they don't define your outcome unless you let them. The moment you take responsibility for your actions, you begin to see life differently. Instead of viewing yourself as a victim of circumstances, you see yourself as the driver of your life. When you own your choices, the question shifts from why is this happening to me? To what can I do about it? This shift in perspective is powerful. It gives you agency, putting you back in the driver's seat of your life. Think about the excuses we often make. I didn't have time, I wasn't given the right opportunity, I didn't have the resources. These are all common, but they're also limiting beliefs. What if instead of making those excuses, you asked yourself, how can I make the time? Or what can I do with what I have right now? By taking accountability, you begin to find solutions instead of dwelling on obstacles. You start looking at what is within your control, and from there you take action. Accountability is not always easy. It requires a level of self-awareness and honesty that can be uncomfortable. It means admitting when you've fallen short, when you've procrastinated, or when you've allowed fear to hold you back. But this is where growth happens. When you are willing to be honest with yourself, you can address the areas in your life where you need to improve. You can stop hiding behind excuses and start working on the things that matter. Another important aspect of accountability is understanding that failure is a part of life. When you take responsibility, you also embrace the fact that mistakes and setbacks are not the end, they are lessons. Every failure carries a message, and every setback is an opportunity to learn something valuable about yourself and your journey. The problem with excuses is that they stop you from learning. They make you feel like you're powerless, when in fact, every challenge is a chance for growth. When you make excuses, you are not only avoiding responsibility, but you're also delaying your progress. The time and energy spent justifying why something didn't happen is time and energy that could have been spent finding a solution. Accountability, on the other hand, is action-oriented. It's about recognizing where you are and then making deliberate choices to move forward. It's about taking control of your destiny instead of leaving it up to chance or external forces. Now, I want you to think about a goal or dream you have, something that you've been putting off or telling yourself you're not ready for. What excuses have you been making? What reasons have you been giving yourself for not taking that first step? If you're honest, you'll realize that often it's not the circumstances that are holding you back. It's the narrative you've created around those circumstances. The moment you take responsibility, you take back your power. You realize that while things may not be perfect, you have the ability to do something about it. We all face obstacles. We all encounter difficulties. But what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck is the willingness to take responsibility for their actions. It's the understanding that no one is coming to save you, and no one can do the work for you. The life you want is on the other side of your excuses, and the only way to get there is by owning your journey. I encourage you to let go of the excuses. Hold yourself accountable for your dreams, your actions, and your results. Take full responsibility for your life, and watch how everything starts to change. Our minds are powerful. They are the command center for everything we do, think, and achieve in life. Yet, one of the biggest obstacles to personal progress is the habit of making excuses. Often, these excuses are not a reflection of reality, but a product of our mindset. When we face challenges or goals that seem too difficult, our mind defaults to protection mode, crafting excuses that keep us in our comfort zone. But if we want to break free and reach our true potential, we must start by shifting our mindset. The power to stop making excuses begins with how we think. The mindset we carry shapes how we perceive the world and our place in it. If you believe that circumstances are holding you back, you'll focus on limitations. You'll see every obstacle as a reason to quit. Every failure is evidence that you shouldn't have tried in the first place. But what if you decided to view those same obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks? What if, instead of thinking, I can't, you started asking, how can I? That simple shift changes everything. One of the most common mindsets that feed excuses is the fear of failure. We tell ourselves that if we don't try, we won't fail. But in reality, avoiding failure by not trying is the biggest failure of all. Failure is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. Every great achievement comes with its share of failures along the way. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is their mindset. Those who succeed don't make excuses when they fail, they learn from it. They don't let setbacks define them, they let setbacks refine them. When we shift from a mindset of excuse-making to a mindset of accountability and action, we start to see possibilities instead of limitations. Take a moment to think about the times in your life when you've said, I can't do that, or I don't have the time or resources. These are common excuses, but what are they really? They're thoughts rooted in fear or doubt. But what if you reframe those thoughts? Instead of I can't, what if you asked yourself, what can I do with what I have? When you change your perspective, the world opens up in ways you couldn't see before. You begin to realize that your potential is not determined by your circumstances, but by your mindset. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with a decision. A decision to stop seeing challenges as immovable and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. It's about taking control of the narrative you've been telling yourself. Too often we tell ourselves that the road is too hard or that we're not ready. But no one is ever truly ready for greatness. It's something you grow into. And that growth starts with a mindset that says, I will find a way. Excuses also stem from a mindset of comparison. How many times have you told yourself, well, they have more experience than I do, or they've been doing this longer, I'll never catch up? Comparing yourself to others is a surefire way to feed your excuses. When you compare, you create unnecessary limitations for yourself. You start to believe that because someone else is ahead, you can't succeed. But here's the truth, your journey is your own. Your timing, your path, your obstacles, they are unique to you. When you stop comparing and start focusing on your own growth, your excuses lose their power. You begin to see that the only person you're really competing with is the version of yourself that keeps making excuses. A mindset shift also means embracing discomfort. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when you push yourself beyond what feels easy. Excuses keep us comfortable because they prevent us from trying something new, something risky. But every time you step out of that comfort zone, you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. You begin to realize that the things you once thought were impossible are actually within your reach, simply because you decided to try. A mindset shift is about empowerment. It's about realizing that you are in control of how you respond to life's challenges. You can either let your circumstances dictate your actions, or you can decide that no matter what comes your way, you will find a solution. You will push through. You will stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for your success. Today is the day to start making that shift. Stop allowing your mindset to hold you back. Stop letting excuses dictate your future. When you change your mindset, you change your life. And once you've made that shift, you'll find that nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in your way. Every challenge becomes an opportunity, every failure a lesson, and every step forward a testament to your strength. This is the power of a transformed mindset, one that refuses to make excuses and instead finds a way forward no matter what. One of the most powerful drivers behind excuses is fear. Fear holds us back, keeps us stuck, and convinces us that we aren't ready or capable of taking the next step. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown, it can become a paralyzing force that prevents us from pursuing our goals and dreams. The truth is, fear often disguises itself as excuses. We might say, I'm too busy, or it's not the right time, but beneath these surface-level reasons is usually a deeper sense of insecurity or doubt. To move forward in life, we must face our fears head-on, overcome them, and stop allowing them to fuel our excuses. The first step in overcoming fear is recognizing it. Many of us are so used to making excuses that we don't even realize fear is at the core of our hesitation. Think about the times when you've backed away from an opportunity. Did you tell yourself you weren't qualified, that you didn't have the time, or that you weren't ready? Those are just the stories we tell ourselves to avoid confronting fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of making mistakes, or fear of stepping into the unknown. Once we recognize that fear is what's driving these excuses, we can begin the process of dismantling it. Fear often stems from a desire for certainty. We want to know that if we try something, we will succeed. We want guarantees before we take risks. But life doesn't work that way. Success is never guaranteed, and the path to achievement is rarely smooth. If we let fear of the unknown control us, we'll never step outside of our comfort zone, and without stepping outside of our comfort zone, we limit our growth.